All right, hello everybody. This is Penny. Welcome back to my channel. And I was supposed to have a video for you today on making homemade deodorant. And then, sorry, I gotta get adjusted. Then when I went to do it, I realized I was lacking one of my supplies. So I apologize. So while I'm working on getting the supplies for that, I decided I'm gonna do a series of videos. I'm not sure how many yet, but I'm gonna do a series of videos on homeschooling because when I did the very first video, stress-free homeschooling, I know there was some interest in it, but I feel like I need to give more details. And there's a lot of people out there today, um, they're homeschooling, but there's a lot of people wanting to homeschool, or they're thinking about it and they don't know what to do. I remember being like that, like a deer caught in the headlights, like, "Duh, what do I do?" There's so many things out there, and it can be really overwhelming. So today my video is just simply how to start homeschooling. And then after this, like I said, I will have a series on, I will do like a day in our life, not now since I'm not currently homeschooling anymore, because my girls are older and graduated, but just a day in our life of how our day went and exactly what we did. Because a lot of times, I don't know about you, but you'll watch day in the life videos and it's like, some of it's good and some of it's just not practical, or they cut a lot of stuff out. So I want to give you guys as much details as I can. So I always have me some notes here, and I apologize. I have two different stands going here, and I keep still getting those rings on my glasses. I don't know if you guys can see that, but it drives me crazy. So sorry about that. Okay, so the first thing, now our experience obviously is going to be different than everybody else's. I had my oldest daughter in public school, and so you might have little kids and be thinking about homeschooling and they've never been in school, so you wouldn't have to withdraw them or anything. So if that's the case and your kids become school age, you just start homeschooling. You don't have to obviously withdraw and go through that process. But do check your laws in your state, because I live in Indiana and our laws are not the same as other states. Like, they're pretty lenient here, as far as like not having to report much of anything, but some states you have to. So I'm just sharing with you our experience, okay? So my oldest daughter was in public school. We started out with, she was in fourth grade. We pulled her out because we just felt like the Lord was really laying that on our heart for a long time. And she did not enjoy school anyway. And everything was just so rush, 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 rush. Now, if you like public school or you got your kids in a private school and that works for you, that's great. But for us, it wasn't working. And she just looked sad. And she would come home and a lot of her papers would be like glued and stuck to the inside of the backpack because it was so rush, rush, rush. And I know myself from working in a Christian school even, it was a lot more lenient than the public school, but still you're trying to get in all these subjects and you're trying to get in music or art and PE and da 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 and lunchtime, and there's only so much time in a day, and it is hard for teachers. I do commend teachers because it is hard, but it just was not working for us anymore. So in fourth grade, we pulled her out, we withdrew her, kept her out for a week, freaked out, put her back in, thinking, oh, we can't do this. Just like a lot of people out there think, oh, I can't do this. I can't do this. Oh my gosh, I'm not a teacher. I'm not a teacher. I'm not this. I'm not that. How do I do this? How do I do that? Da 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 da. And that whole rest of the year and the whole summer, the Holy Spirit just kept tugging at our hearts. So we withdrew her in fifth grade. And how we did that was, in our state anyway, we went and I just wrote a letter to the school and to the superintendent, because I just want to make sure all areas were covered, and said, hey, dear so-and-so, I'm withdrawing, my daughter and her name, because we were going to homeschool, and that's about it. Signed it, gave it to him, kept that on record. Now, some states don't require that, some do. I did it to cover our tracks, and I know in the state of Indiana, you're supposed to do that. And that's about it. And so we were like, okay, now what do we do? Because at the time, I didn't know, but I think two people who had homeschooled, excuse me, and there was not a whole lot of information. So you guys have a lot more available today than we did. And this wasn't even that many years ago. We're talking, oh gosh, maybe it was. Maybe it was like, I homeschooled for 16 years, so it might have been like 18 or 20 years ago. Oh my gosh, that's like, I didn't realize it had been that long. Yikes. Okay, so maybe it was that long ago. Anyhow, we still had the old dial-up computer, so I guess it had been a while. Yeah. Of course, I will say we were like one of the last ones to get modern day computer, cell phone, or anything. So, um, we withdrew, and then I was like, now what do we do? I'm like, okay, so what we started out doing was I set a timer. And we had to start school by 8:30 because that's what you did in public school, right? So we'd start at 8:30 and we do this and we do that. And I'm like, okay, oh my gosh, look at my watch. You have to have this subject done by this time. Oh my gosh, we have to do lunch. And then, my daughter kept sitting there saying, well, this isn't how we do it in real school. This isn't what my real teacher does. And I'm like, this is real school. I am your real teacher. And we're like, ah. And, we tried to do everything, in public school. She had to have a desk and she had to sit at a desk and we had a timer and we had to do this and that. And I bet by the time her dad come home, I was like, I can't do this. I quit. And I bet you I said I quit 100 times that year. By the end of the school year, I said, wow, we survived. We made it. Maybe we can really do this. So don't do that to yourself, okay? Don't do all that. You withdraw your kids from school, one child, 5 children, however many you have. It's going to take an adjustment period. So give yourself that courtesy. Give your kids that courtesy, okay? It's okay. It's going to take time for you to adjust. It's going to take time for them to adjust. And even if it's not a mom and dad I'm talking to right now, maybe it's a grandma or grandpa or aunt or uncle or friend. I mean, I homeschooled a nephew for a while. That's fine. But you take the time and let yourself adjust and let them adjust because this is new to everybody, okay? Some of you might be excited and the kids might be excited, yay! And some might be like, oh, I hate this and being home, So give everybody time to adjust. It's okay. Take your time and breathe, okay? All right, so that's the first thing. So let me look at my notes here. So, okay, so what we did when we got past all the, oh my gosh, how do we do this? We were like, okay, let's chill out, slow down. What works for us? I had one friend, she used a timer. They started at like 8:15 in the morning, and that's what worked for them. They liked that. They liked a tight, rigid schedule. And they started at this time, they stopped at this time. She used that timer all day long. They liked that. That worked for them. I tried it. It drove me crazy because I always felt like I was rushing. I always felt like I was not cutting it. I was not doing everything right. And it was just too much pressure for both of us. And, I remember my daughter sitting there and she's in tears and I'm in tears at 10:30 at night because I'm like, she doesn't have her math done. What are we going to do? She's got to have it done. Oh my gosh. And it was like, stop. Just stop. It's okay. If she didn't get it done today, guess what? There's tomorrow. Unless the world ends or I drop dead, it's going to be there tomorrow, right? So, so just go with it. Just go with it. And then, let me think. So what we started doing was we just started relaxing. Like some days, I didn't feel well or she didn't feel well. Somebody might be sick or you just have a burnout day. You ever get burnout? We all get burnout from whatever. And so it'd be like, you know what? I don't care. Do your math in your pajamas. Who cares? It's not like, who cares? There's no one here to care, So do your math in your pajamas. If it helps you to do your math or your English or whatever, hanging upside down on the couch, then go for it. You know what I mean? Some people are more orderly than others. That's fine. By the time we got to high school with my oldest daughter, and even especially with my youngest, it was like, who cares? We were probably way too relaxed then. But the thing is, do what works for you. If you got to go and you got to go over and you got to help grandma once a week in the garden or to do this or that, and you need, it cuts into the school day, then they can take their work with them and work on it there. Not a big deal, So you do what works for you. I can't stress that enough. Do what works for you. Your life is not going to be the same as every Tom, Dick, and Harry in your homeschool group or whatever. And I advise you, look for a homeschool group. Now, I have one friend, they never did join a homeschool group. They just wasn't their thing, and they were busy. She had 4 kids, I think 4 kids, and then things with her mom and this and that, and it didn't work for them. And that's fine. For us, we didn't know anything about a homeschool group the first couple of years. We were pretty isolated, but once we got in one, we liked it. One met every other week, and another one we were in for several years that met every week. That worked for us. But I only had two girls that were 8 years apart, so it's a big difference. But we liked it because they got a taste of different things. I got a taste of different things. I learned so much from the other moms. And I just learned how to just chill as a mom, you know. Um, Let me see here. Oh, yeah. Okay. One thing we did our first year, which I would not advise, we bought a kit, okay, a homeschool kit. And we bought it from this company, which is a great company. I can't even remember the name of the company right now. I can't remember. Anyways, we got a kit because we thought, oh, we get a kit. It came and we were like, yay, all these books and all this interesting stuff. Both of us ended up liking like 2 subjects out of it, and the rest of it we couldn't stand. And I was like, oh my gosh, we spent money on this, and this is all we have. We have to do this. No, you don't. Again, do you. Do what works for you. So I think we used the spelling and I forget something else out of it. And the rest, we just couldn't stand it. It was weird. Some of it was real cheesy. Some of it just was not us. So out it went. And we went to the library, and that's what we did the rest of the year for history and for science. We used books from the library, not a big deal. So then after that, we tried something else. The next year, we switched and we used a different company, sort of a kit, but not a big deal. I'm not going to say what it is in case some of you people love it out there. But all I know is we got about maybe halfway through the year, I couldn't stand the math. I hated it. My daughter hated it. She was miserable. She was in tears. I was in tears because it didn't come with any instructions. This particular math would give like a couple of examples and then just set you on. And I'm like, how are you supposed to know how to do this? I didn't do this in school. How do I do this? And I got so mad one day. It was these little workbooks, and I picked one up and I ripped it in half. And I remember my husband was home that day, and my younger daughter was home. She was, I don't know, maybe first or second grade. And I ripped that book in half, and I said, there, and I threw the other workbook at my daughter, my oldest daughter. I said, tear it in half. And she just looked at me like I'd lost my mind, and I about felt like it with that math. And so she's like, okay, and ripped it. And I said, now, how did that feel? Did that feel good? And she's like, yeah. And I said, good, we're done with this. And then my youngest daughter said, Mommy, are you going to tear up my books too? So it's funny, but I said, we are done with this math. Both of us are miserable. We're in tears. It's not working. So why are we pushing ourselves to do this? It's because, we had it in our mind like, we have to do this, we have to do this, we have to do this. That's what the world does. You have to go and fit into the certain mold. And you do not, okay? You do not. So we ended up using different things. And then after that, we pieced together. I mean, years down the road, we found, okay, we like this math from this company, and we like this from this company, and this from this company, and that's what we did. And I always shopped eBay, or I went to this used bookstore that's like an hour and a half away, something like that, and they sell used stuff, but they also have a website. You can find so much online now. We would use library resources. I got with other homeschool moms in our homeschool group, and we would kind of trade stuff back and forth and loan it. So the possibilities are endless. So you just do what works for your family. But yeah, that kit thing, that was a nightmare. That drove us crazy. Our day, like, we weren't early risers. I did this every year, okay? And it looks so good on paper. I did like what a lot of people do. So I would get done with what I did, I always had my school year done by the end of the year. And then I would start on next year, but then because I didn't want to do it last minute. So in August, I would get started and I would write out this list, okay? And it looked so good on paper because it was like, here's our schedule. We're doing this at this time and this at this time. And we're going to be up by this time and do this and that. And I'd have other moms see it and say, oh, wow, you're so organized. And I'm like, yeah, it looks really good on paper, doesn't it? And we would do that for about 2 weeks into the year, and then it went. And it just didn't work. It just didn't work for us. And so we're not early risers. I wish I was. Oh, Lord, I just want to be so bad. But it's just not who I am. I love being up in the morning, but sometimes it just didn't work. So We might get up at 8. We might not get up till 9:30 or whatever. You know, I got all these other moms saying, we're up by 6 a.m. And, you know, I'm like, well, that's great. But that wasn't me. And if you are great getting up at 5 or 6 a.m. and starting your day, great. If you don't get up till 9 or 10, whatever, it's your life, you know. And so don't let anybody judge you on it or make you feel bad because you're not fitting into some certain mold. This is your life, not their life. They ain't paying your bills. They're not coming in there bathing your kids and feeding your kids and everything. So it's your life. You do what you need to do. So we would get up and we would just start when we started. You know, we would start when we started. That's what we did. What else I have here? So like we start our day with a devotion. We started with just a small devotion of about maybe 10-15 minutes because for one thing, you can try to put as much Bible in your kids as you want, but their attention spans are not real long, okay? Sometimes mine isn't the longest, the older I get, so. And so we would start with that, and then we always did like math and English in the morning hours because by the time afternoon comes around, my brain feels fried, so that's what we did. Again, everybody's different, but that's just what we did. And then we would do other subjects in the afternoon. And we would just, you know, kind of play around with it. It's kind of like just your life, you know, you do one thing and say, well, this doesn't work. I'm going to switch and do this. It's the same thing with homeschooling. You just do what you think is good for you at the time. And then if it doesn't work, you just switch it up. Not a big deal, you know. So that's, I think, about it. I'm trying to think if I have anything else right now. I am going to do, like I said, a detailed day in the life. I'm looking here to see, let me see if I have anything else. Yeah. And I, for attendance, like the first year or two, here's what I use. See this? Real fancy. Notebook paper. I would use that and I would write, you know, on it, like, you know, say it's this year, I'd say 2025 to 2026 school year. You know, and we called ourselves Simpson Academy, Simpson Christian Academy. Sorry, just because that's our last name. So Simpson Christian Academy, 2025, 2026 school year is, you know, for example, is what I would put. Then I'd open it up. It'd be like, you know, August, whatever, and the year, you know, I'd put the date and then I would just put present. It was not fancy at all. That's what we did the first couple years until I started getting into, you know, planners and all these binders and stuff just because I like that stuff and I like making lists and doing these things. And then that's what we did. But you can be that simple. I had a friend that every year she would just get the free calendar, like our local phone company and some different insurance places give out a free calendar every year. She would pick up a free calendar. Can't talk free. And that's what she used. That was her attendance record. That's what she did every year. And she would just flip it open. And on that day, she just put, you know, put the child's name and put present or absent because of illness or whatever, and that's what she used. So you can be as cheap and as simple as you want to be, or you can buy fancy planners. You can do all kinds of printouts, you know. There's just so much available. So really, it's, again, what works for you. I know that kind of sounds crazy. Like, well, still don't know where to start. And I love helping people get started with things when they're like, because I remember what that feels like. And it was just so overwhelming. And I didn't have anybody. I had like one person told me a few things and I was just kind of like floundering out there in the ocean all alone. And I'd come across a website or two on my old monster, big, huge computer. And I would watch their life and read about their resources and stuff on their blogs and things. And that's how I got started. So I kind of had to learn the hard way. So if there's even one person out there I can help and not have to go through what we went through and make it easier on you, then this video was worth my time. So if you have any questions for me, please put them down in the comment section. If you have any comments, please put that too. I apologize. Like I said, I'm still new at doing YouTube videos, so I'm still trying to learn how to do descriptions and do all these things in the bottom. I'll get there. But please let me know if you have any questions, if there's anything I can help you with. I am no expert by any means, but I did do it for 16 years and I learned a lot. And so if there's anybody else out there I can help, I'd love to do that. So hope you guys have a good night, and the next video will be another one to the homeschooling series where I give more detail of more things. So until next time, you guys have a Good night, and I'll see you then. Bye.